stockades of living trees, thorn bushes, and so on to protect them. Here's an illustration of one of these settlements that I conducted excavations at. This is Yagala, Old Town, and I don't know if you can make out the topographic map there on the right, but this is a very steep hill, no water resources, clearly a settlement chosen for defense. Also a site which oral traditions, livable oral traditions, clearly associate with the slave trade and slave raiding during the 18th and 19th centuries. And the archaeological data from the site also clearly indicate an occupation during this time. But one of the things that I found in my excavations was that some of these sites also date back much further in time. So from the Yagala site, I also recovered information of ceramics, evidence of iron production, copper working, going back into the first millennium AD or early second millennium AD. That is 1,000 or more years ago. Again, a period of time before the arrival of the Europeans on the coast, before the beginning of the slave trade. So in terms of providing a background, while clearly we do not have a lot of information, what I think we have to recognize is that this is just a missing past, a past that we don't currently have information on. But based on what we do know, this early history of Sierra Leone is not unlike what we see in other parts of West Africa. It wasn't occupied by hunter-gatherers up until the Atlantic period. Rather, we see a long history of settlement, a long history of agriculture, iron production, beginning at a time period comparable to what we see in other parts of West Africa, the West African coast. So it's a past that definitely exists. We just have to do more work to uncover it. So having briefly outlined that deep past, what I wanted to do now is briefly talk about the importance of the past in the present. And so we can ask, why study the past? Well, of course, I'm an archaeologist, so my personal bias is, well, of course, it's important and we have to study it. But I think that, again, some of the papers that you're going to see in this panel, as well as other papers throughout the conference, provide illustration of how the past really impacts the present. Sierra Leone's present can't be divorced from this past.